Larks are set to cap off the first round of the 2026 NBC World Series as they start bracket play against the Seattle Cheney Studs. Good evening, everybody, and welcome into Wichita State's baseball stadium, X Stadium, for the Larks and the Seattle Cheney Studs. My name is Hank Corsair, joined alongside by Eli Blankenship, and this is where it gets serious now. It is win or go home for both teams. Yesterday is history, and from now on, tomorrow is a mystery. The Larks were able to go 2-1 in their pool play. They got two big wins over the San Diego Stars and Texas Army, and then fell last night to the Alaska Gold Panthers, which puts them in the first round. And Seattle, this is a situation they've been in already. They've been in this win or go home situation. They started with two losses to the Austin Gold Sox and the Junction City Brigade, but they were able to close out pool play with a win against the 0-2 Oklahoma Lookouts 9-5. So from here on out, both teams will have to win 4 games in 4 days if they want to capture a 2026 NBC World Series title and etch their name in history. It's going to be a fun one and a late one as well, and we'll talk about it with Eli Blankenship when we come back here on the Larks Network. Welcome back to X Stadium on the campus of Wichita State University as the Larks get set to wrap up the first round against the Seattle Cheney Studs. We are now joined by Eli Blankenship. Eli, we've arrived at bracket play. How are you feeling?
Feeling good. I'm very excited for tonight's matchup. I think we're going to have a really good contest between two very quality ball clubs. This is a win-or-go-home matchup, so the stakes are even higher than they were in pool play, and I'm really excited to see what both of these teams can bring to the table.
And the Larks, they went 2-1 in pool play. The last 2 years, it was 3-0, capturing that first-round bye. So they got to battle through some adversity after a pretty tough loss from Alaska last night.
Yeah, I think to your point about it being a tough loss, I think that's something that they just have to grow from. You know, sometimes you take really challenging, really heartbreaking losses as a baseball player, and those are things that you have to be able to adapt from. You just look back on the game, look at where you struggled the most, and how do you fix that here tonight? How do you move on from it? So I think, if anything, that's a loss that they just needed to get out of their system, and it will help propel them further forward in this tournament.
And looking at the Studs, I talked about this in the intro, but they've been in this situation already. They've played in a win-or-go-home game already in this tournament. They started 0-2 in pool play. They had to beat the 0-2 Oklahoma Lookouts, and they did just that.
Yeah, they did, and I think that the Studs are going to be a tough team. They're not going to be a gimme team. None of the teams in knockout play or in bracket play, I suppose, are going to be easy teams to play against. The game right before this, the Liberal BJs and the Hutchinson Monarchs, two very talented ball clubs going toe-to-toe in the opening rounds of this tournament. So it's just every game's going to be a battle, and I think that's the mindset that the Larks have to have coming into this contest.
And when we take a look at the Larks' keys to victory tonight, it feels pretty straightforward when you look at what Seattle's done in their first 3 games, and that is out-hit them and also get up early, and then that should help the Larks get the win. Yeah,
and I think that the big primary factor as to why the Larks lost in last night's contest against the Gold Painters was because the Gold Painters did a really nice job at locating the strike zone. It had really not a lot to do with the fact that they just totally blew the Larks out of the water. They chipped away at that lead little bit by little bit, and then, like I said, they located the strike zone, and that's something that the Larks are really good at doing, is being disciplined at the plate. And it's difficult to change your approach that you've had all season long when you get to a tournament match against one particular team. And so I think for the remainder of this tournament, I apologize, folks, with my mic technical difficulties here. I'd rather get it out of the way now, though, than later. The continued approach of this Larks ball club may change a little bit after last night's game. I would expect to potentially see them be a little bit more aggressive at the plate tonight, just considering that in a lot of these contests, the Larks have really outscored teams truly from their play discipline. It's been runs generated off of
Ocean City Brigade 12-6. They went on to win the whole tournament or to win the whole pool, excuse me. And then they had to get a win over the Oklahoma Lookouts to make it to pool play or to bracket play, and they did just that, winning 9-5. And in the regular season, they were 27-9, 16-4 in the Pacific International League. They won the league title. And they had kind of a rough start. They started 1-3 with all those games being in the month of May, but once it became June, a switch just flipped. They won 12 straight after that 1-3 start. That included an 18-1 record in the month of June. And they got the title, and they are now back after a fourth-place finish here at Wichita last year, which they lost in the semifinals just like the Larks. And this is their 28th year in the tournament. They come in with an all-time record of 90-50, which includes 82-42 in the modern wood bat era, meaning they've been to the tournament 24 times in that era. So it should be a great matchup tonight. We'll take a quick look now at our starting lineups, and we'll start with the Seattle Cheney Studs. They are led off by number 21, Dante Grant, the center fielder. After that is number 5, Bradley Carl. Batting third will be number 28, Jeremiah Crane. Number 7, Gage Thompson bats fourth. Fifth in the order will be number 24, Kalen Halstead. Number 16, Jackson Copeland will bat sixth. The seventh batter will be number 3, Tristan Ringrose. Number 23, Tanner McVeigh will be the DH tonight, batting eighth. And the ninth batter is number 14, Ryan Sparrow. And Seattle's pitcher tonight will be number 10, Andrew Knorr, the right-hander out of Shoreline Community College, making his second appearance of the tournament. Pitched in the first game against the Austin Gold Sox in 4 innings, able to get only allow 3 hits, 1 run, and record 2 strikeouts. And now we'll take a look at the Larks starting lineup. They are taking the field right now wearing their gray uniforms. They will be led off by Matthew Shipley, followed by Max Flowers, and then Rainer Bean bats third. Owen Coyle returns to the lineup, batting fourth. The fifth batter is number 1, Cooper Holtorf. Number 15, Hutch Russell, bats sixth. Number 34, Tanner Norman, is seventh in the order. Tabor Stokes bats sixth. And number 29, Dylan Hazelhorse, is the ninth batter. And the Larks pitcher tonight is making his first appearance with the team. It is number 21, Brian Walters, one of the 4 additions from the Game Day Angels. Walters just wrapped up his senior year at Adams State and is playing for the second time in this tournament, just like the Cheney Studs pitcher. Walters' first appearance was against the San Diego Stars for 2 innings. He did not give up any runs, and he had 2 strikeouts as well. The Larks going through their warm-ups. Walters throwing to the catcher, Dylan Hazelhorst, as they get set to go in a must-win game. Both of these teams want to play tomorrow night against the Lone Star Baseball Club, and this is the last game of the first round. We'll take a quick look real fast at some of those other games from earlier today. It started off with the Austin Gold Sox beating Texas Army by 1 run. It was 3-2. Then after that, the Cheney Studs rival, the Seattle Blackfins, got a win over the BTL Hornets 3-1. And just before this game, it was an in-state rivalry. It is the Hutchinson Monarchs defeated the Liberal BJs 2-1 to secure a spot in the next round. So this is the last game of the night, and it should be a good one. Walters throwing his warm-up pitches. Hazelhorst throws down to second base to complete those, and now Dante Grant makes the walk from the first base dugout. It's going to be a late start tonight. The sun is completely down. It's a dark sky here at X Stadium for the final game of the first round. Brian Walters is set to deal the first pitch to number 21, Dante Grant. It's on its way, and the fastball misses high and inside. And the count starts off 1-0. First pitch is 9:03, making this the latest game of the season for the Larks. Not the latest game they've played here at the NBC World Series in the last 2 years. This is a fly ball into center field. Flowers tracking it down. He runs up, and he makes the catch, and there is the first out of the game just like that. So after that fly out from Dante Grant, it'll bring up number 5, Bradley Carl, the sophomore out of Pierce Community College and native of Sumner, Washington. Carl was one of the top hitters for the Studs in the regular season with 51. He also led the team in RBIs and runs. Waves the red bat around in the left-handed box to face the right-handed arm of Brian Walters, who goes to his fastball again on that inside corner, and he finds it this time. It is 0-1. Walters deals the next pitch. Hard hit ground ball into the glove of Tanner Norman. He waves off Walters and will jog over to first base and touch it with his right foot to get out number 2. Larks doing a good job right away. Only 4 pitches have been thrown from Walters. And now he faces the third batter in the order, number 28, Jeremiah Crane, who's at third base tonight. Crane, a junior for the Studs team. His first pitch is a changeup, and that gets in there for strike 1 on the low part. Jeremiah Crane is a player for the Studs currently in the transfer portal. He took a gap year in 2026 and last played at the Division I level in 2025 for UC Santa Barbara. Another ball crosses the plate. It's now 1-1. Walters holding his glove by his hip. Now the pitch. And a swing and a miss. Another fastball. That one coming across the plate at 87 miles per hour. Crane falls behind 1-2. Walters looking for a 3-up, 3-down inning in his first start with the Larks. He kicks and deals. Goes low on another fastball. And the count is back even again. Walters made 6 starts with the Game Day Angels across 23 innings. Now the 2-2 and another swing and a miss, and there's his first strikeout of the game as he goes 3-up, 3-down against the Seattle Cheney Studs. The top of the Larks order will be up next as they try to strike first here in the final game of the first round. This is Hayes Larks Baseball on the Larks Network. Brian Walters, in his first start with the Larks, was able to go 3 up, 3 down against the Seattle Cheney Studs to start off the game, and now it's time for the bottom of the first inning. And a new Lark leads things off tonight. It's number 12, Matthew Shipley, facing the starter for the Cheney Studs, Andrew Knorr. He deals the first pitch of the inning right down Broadway for strike one. After Matthew Shipley for the Larks, it is Max Flowers, Rainer Bean, and then Owen Coyle. Knorr playing in his second game of this tournament as he deals. This one is hit on a line drive into left field, and it goes past the stadium lights and lands right on the roof of the indoor facility here at X Stadium.
He made pretty good contact with that pitch. If he can speed up his swing, slow down his swing just a little bit, he'll put that one in play.
Shipley, the sophomore out of UC Colorado Springs. We'll watch the next pitch go by. It's high and outside for a ball. Shipley was added to the Larks roster from the Game Day Angels, where he played in 25 games and finished the summer with a .306 average in Parker, Colorado. And now he hits another line drive to the opposite side of the field, but it stays in the infield, and it's caught by the first baseman, Copeland. So there's out number one. It now takes us to number 5, Max Flowers, who's back in center field tonight. Here's a look at the Studs' defensive alignment in the outfield from left to right. It is number 5, Bradley Carl, number 21, Dante Grant, and number 14, Ryan Sparrow. We'll take a look at the infield in just a second. Flowers holds his bat up, and Knorr deals the pitch. And this one is fouled back into the net. The count begins 0-1. Tonight's catcher for Seattle is number 24, Kalen Halstead. The first baseman is number 16, Jackson Copeland. Over at second is number 3, Tristan Ringrose. The shortstop is number 7, Gage Thompson, and at third is number 28, Jeremiah Crane. The 0-1 and a line drive into left field, and another one hits the indoor facility. That's now 2 hits to that building in this inning, and there's only been 6 pitches thrown. Flowers waves his bat around. And now the pitch from Andrew Knorr. He throws a changeup, and it misses way up high. Count moves to 1-2. Flowers had a 1-for-4 performance last night against the Alaska Gold Panthers. Reached base through a single and also walked. Now the 1-2 goes up high for another ball. In a similar spot, makes the count even. Knorr's making his first start with the Studs, not just in this tournament, but also on the season, as this is a ground ball over to Copeland. He fields it and will run over to first for another out. It's kind of identical scorecards here to start the first inning. Looking at the Cheney Studs, they had a fly out to center field and then a ground out over to the first base side, and then it was wrapped up with a strikeout from Brian Walters. And for the Larks, they hit that line drive to the first base side, and then it's a ground ball to the first baseman. And now Rainer Bean is up. And he'll pop this one up on the infield. Crane getting under it, and the third baseman waits for it to come down and makes the catch, and it's a 3-up, 3-down inning for the Cheney Studs to wrap up the first. Still no score, as the Cheney Studs will have the middle part of their order up next when we come back here on the Larks Network. Number 7, Gage Thompson, gets set to lead off the top of the second inning for the Seattle Cheney Studs. No score here at Wichita in Wichita, Kansas. And Brian Walters returns after a great start to this game. Only 9 pitches thrown, and he has a strikeout in a 3-up, 3-down top of the first inning, and he throws a foul ball to Gage Thompson to start it off. Thompson, a freshman out of Central Arizona Community College, transferring to Pierce Community College for next season. And now the 0-1, half-hearted swing, and the first base umpire, Travis Olson, says that he did not go around. Thompson has dealt a ball. It is Kalen Halstead and Jackson Copeland up next here for the Cheney Studs in this inning. The 1-1 misses to the outside for another ball. It's now a tied count. Thompson played in all 3 pool games for the Cheney Studs. A hit, a run, and an RBI for him. And now the pitch to untie the count. A swing and a miss, and Thompson falls behind 2-2. Walters doing a good job of limiting the amount of pitches he's thrown. He kicks and deals. Goes low and inside, and Gage Thompson watches the third strike go right by him. There it is, out number 1.
Well, Brian Walters certainly setting the tempo early here for the Larks, really making a statement with those back-to-back strikeouts now, striking out Jeremiah Crane at the end of the first inning and then starting the second inning with a strikeout to Gage Thompson.
And now number 24, Kalen Halstead, up to bat to face the Adams State Grizzly, Brian Walters. He goes low on the pitch, and our home plate umpire, Conan Strobel, calls it ball 1. Halstead, another Pierce Community College player for the Cheney Studs, is dealt a strike on the second pitch. It's now 1-1 with 1 out. Halstead made 49 appearances this season, finished with a .336 average as a freshman. The 1-1, he swings and misses at it. He falls behind with a second strike. Half-hearted practice swing there for Halstead. Holding his bat up, the 1-2 is on its way, and it takes a bounce. Dylan Hazelhorst able to keep it in front of him. It's now 2-2. Larks infield playing a little bit deeper, closer to the outfield. The next pitch goes low, and Hazelhorst tried to frame it. There is the first full count of the game. In the 3 games so far in the NBC World Series for the Studs, Halstead has gotten 1 hit and walked 4 times. Now on the payoff pitch, he leaves it inside for ball 4.
Oh, man, that was close. Brian Walters threw a beautiful pitch over the inner half of the plate. I thought it came across high enough, but evidently the home plate umpire says it came across just a hair too low for his liking behind the plate. That was really close. A good-looking pitch there from Brian Walters.
Coming up now is number 16, Jackson Copeland, a 2025 NBC All-American last summer. And he hits a line drive on the first pitch right in between Hutch Russell and Tanner Norman on the right infield side. And he advances both runners to their next stations. Halstead to second and Copeland over at first. Still no score, but now a runner in scoring position.
Well, an army of car horns went off over in the right field parking lot. I've been hearing those every once in a while for the Cheney Studs. An interesting note about the Cheney Studs, they actually have a kind of fan base here in Wichita called the Circle of Love, and it's all based on players that have, or based on people that have played for the team, had some sort of affiliation from the team, might have been from the area, and they've got a small little following here in Wichita, and they show up to every single one of the games.
Next batter up is Tristan Ringrose, and Brian Walters starts ahead in the count 0-1.
Pretty good bundle of fans next to the Cheney Studs dugout, and I would imagine that's probably, if I were to take a guess, the Circle of Love down there.
Still a pretty good number of fans with it being 9:18 here in Wichita. They don't have to worry about finding shade tonight. This is the latest game we've seen so far, and they are all sitting as close to home plate as they can.
Yeah, unfortunately, the curse of there not being the sun out is that it's extremely humid this evening. There is like just sweat running down everybody here in this ballpark, players and spectators both.
1-1 from Walters to Ringrose. Going to his fastball again. It's now 2-1. Ringrose has 4 hits so far in this tournament, 2 RBIs with a runner over at second base now. And the sophomore out of Pierce Community College has to duck out of the way on the next pitch. It's now 3-1.
Sometimes when pitchers pitch really far inside on batters like that, all they're trying to do is get the batter to straighten up a little bit so they can go further outside in the next pitch to try and get him to reach for a pitch that they're trying to kind of manipulate that batter. It's not always intentional, but sometimes it is intentional when they pitch a batter really far inside like that.
Walters trying to battle back, and the pitch misses in the opposite batter's box, and the bases are now loaded with 1 away. It's the 8-hole batter for the Cheney Studs, Tanner McVeigh, up to bat. He is their designated hitter in tonight's game. The runner at third is Kalen Halstead. Jackson Copeland is at second, and Tristan Ringrose now over at first. And now Keith Harper will make the walk out from the third base dugout. And the rest of the infield minus Tabor Stokes will come in as well. And now Stokes does come in.
Yeah, nobody warming up in the Larks bullpen yet, and I don't see a need to. You don't want to pull your starter this early, especially not an inning and a third into the contest. I think so far Brian Walters has thrown good stuff. It's just the Cheney Studs are being really disciplined at the plate. They're not swinging at things that are even close. Sometimes they aren't swinging. There was that one pitch a couple batters ago when it was Kylan Halstead that was up to the plate that. It looked to me like that could have been, strike 3, but it was evidently called ball 4. And on a full count like that, you can't beat yourself up on giving up a walk in a situation like that because you threw a pitch that was convincing. That would have been really hard to lay off of for really any batter. So for Walters, I think the message here from Harper is more than likely just trust your stuff and be confident out there on the hill.
The freshman out of Graham, Washington, will be responsible for trying to get the batters home or the runners home. And Brian Walters will deal a strike to him. It's now 0-1. And we know Walters is a good pitcher. He's played 2 seasons of Division II baseball at Adams State, where he played in 34 games in his career with 29 starts and 112 career strikeouts across those 2 seasons. A pop-up, sailing into foul territory, and Tanner Norman reaches out his glove and makes the catch right next to the loge seats here at X Stadium. and there's out number 2.
That extra effort play there from Tanner Norman might save the Larks from giving up extra runs here in this inning. What a hustle play there from Tanner Norman, going the extra mile over there in foul territory off the first base line. And then after the play, the unsung hero, Dylan Hazelhorse, hustles back to home plate to try and keep the runner on third, which is exactly what he did. Great team execution there on that play.
So now the pressure is on the Studs. And the first pitch to the 9-hole batter, Ryan Sparrow, is fouled back, starting the count 0-1. Sparrow was the Studs' top batter in the regular season with a .379 average across 34 games. A little bit surprising to see him batting this low in the order. But this is his 4th game in the tournament. And now another foul ball, and he's down to his last strike.
To your point about him batting this low in the order, sometimes you'll see coaches try and almost disguise a batter who's really good the lower parts of the order. It's rare that you see that, but sometimes they'll try and sneak him in, maybe even to kind of distribute out their lineup a little bit better. But a guy as good as he is, it is surprising.
The 0-2 is fouled back into the stands, hitting against one of the green seats on the first base side. Ryan Sparrow trying to battle back. He's had 4 RBIs so far in this tournament. And this one takes a bounce, rolls away from Dylan Hazelhorse, but he's able to keep it in front of him again. And it's now 1-2. All 4 of those RBIs for Ryan Sparrow were in the first game for the Studs of pool play against the Austin Gold Sox, where they lost 10-7. Walters walks back to the mound, holds the ball in his right hand and holds his glove by his face. He comes set and deals the pitch. And a swing and a miss. He got Sparrow to reach out, and there is 3 away with the bases left loaded, and still no score through after the top of the second between the Hayes Larks and the Seattle Cheney Studs. And it's the Larks' turn to respond with the bats when we come back for the middle part of their order. Still no scores. We start the bottom of the second inning. It's the middle part of the Larks order up. Owen Coyle, Cooper Holtorf, and Hutch Russell will lead the charge with the bats against the stud starter, Andrew Knorr. Larks fans on the third base side cheering on the DH. Owen Coyle's back in the lineup tonight. And the first pitch is left outside for a ball.
Well, you got to wonder those extra effort plays, those hustle plays, as many would call them. Wonder if that can kind of translate to the offensive side of things after closing out that inning.
And a 1-0 stays in fair territory. A diving play made by the first baseman, Copeland. And the pitcher gets there to the first base bag in time. And there is out number 1. A good play there by the Studs. The ball tight-roped down that first base line. Copeland dove out to get it just behind the first base bag, and his pitcher ran over for the out.
I mean, you got to give credit where credit's due. Excellent play there from Copeland. That was not an easy ground ball down the first base line. That thing was a laser, just hugging that first base line. And Owen Coyle thought for sure he might be able to get down to that first base line, but instead Copeland had other ideas. And then, of course, Andrew Knorr being able to cover the first base bag. Just this beautiful play there from the studs.
1 ball and no strikes is the count to Cooper Holtorf, and now the next ball will take a bounce on the plate, making it 2-0. Holtorf batting 5th tonight. In yesterday's game against the Alaska Gold Panthers, he batted 6th. And every single Lark in the lineup tonight is in a new spot. Now a fastball ties things up at 2-1.
Give you a perspective of how humid it is here. The water that I just got out of the fridge about 30 minutes ago, has a ridiculous amount of condensation on it, and it's not even that hot in the press box. It's pretty temperate in here, but it is just so muggy here in Wichita.
2-2, misses up high, and Holtorf works up to a full count. It's been this way all day. The sun hasn't really been out. There's been a lot of clouds with some chances of rain, but we haven't gotten a drop yet. And now ball 4 is dealt to Cooper Holtorf on the full count. He leaves it low and inside, and he heads over to first.
This is where that plate discipline is going to come into full effect. And counts like that where you've got a tough count, 3-2 count, 2-2 count, how do you battle back into a count like that? Cooper Holtorf does an excellent job there in that at-bat to get himself a free bag.
Now Hutch Russell at the bat, 6th in the order tonight. He'll be followed by Tanner Norman, Tabor Stokes, and Dylan Hazelhorse. Andrew Knorr taking his time, now deals the pitch with 5 seconds left on the clock, and Hutch Russell a half-hearted swing. He falls down, and he will start 0-1.
Well, he's certainly hearing about it from the Cheney Studs dugout. I really think he just kind of twisted his back foot just a little bit weirdly on that swing. I don't think that it really had anything to do with the pitch. I just think his footing wasn't quite square.
And now Andrew Knorr throws back to his first baseman, Copeland, and Cooper Holtorf slides back in time. It's been a low-scoring game so far, something that the Studs are not used to when you look at their pool. Now a ground ball over to Ringrose. He throws to second in time, now to first, and that ends the inning. A 4-6-3 play there for the Studs, and they go 3 up, 3 down once again against the Larks. And they'll be back to the top of their order up next here on the Larks Network. The Seattle Cheney Studs ended the bottom of the second inning with a 4-6-3 double play against the Larks, and they are now back to the top of their order with number 21 Dante Grant facing number 21 Brian Walters of the Larks. First pitch of the inning is on its way, low and inside, and the 83-mile-per-hour pitch makes the count 1-0.
And Brian Walters actually pitched relief in Game 1 for the Larks against the San Diego Stars. He pitched 2 innings of work after coming in to relieve Trent Baker. He was able to record 2 strikeouts on 1 run allowed.
Grant gets ahead 2-0 with no outs. Hazelhorse centers his glove. Now the pitch, low and inside, and there's ball 3.
Outside of Walters, the only pitcher to appear twice in this World Series is Ty Parker, who came in last night against the Gold Painters.
Next pitch goes to the plate, low and inside. It's a 4-pitch walk for Dante Grant. He stands over at first base with his teammate Bradley Carl making the walk from the first base dugout. A good showing from both fan bases. Sitting near home plate, the Larks fans on the third base side and a large number of Cheney Studs fans on the first base side, which Eli mentioned, a group of people here in Wichita called, what was it, the Circle of Love?
Circle of Love. They're a fan base here that's a Cheney Studs fan base. It's composed of a lot of ex-players and other people who were maybe from the area and also people who were affiliated with the team.
They're making some noise early, and now Bradley Carl started with the ball, swings and misses on the second pitch, evening the count up. Carl, a sophomore Northwest Nazarene commit, batted .333 in his sophomore season at Pierce Community College, and now a throwback to first. And Tanner Norman makes the catch, but does not apply a tag to Grant. No score here in the top of the third inning. Larks trying to advance to the quarterfinals against Lone Star Baseball Club, who was a winner in their pool. There's just another throwback to first base. Grant slides back in time. And now the pitch. And Hazelhorse comes out of his stance to get it. It's now 2-1. Tanner Norman continues to cover first. A tied count as Walters comes set with no outs. The 2-1, and the runner takes off for second base. Hazelhorse throws it down there, and the tag is not applied in time.
Wasn't a bad throw from Hazelhorse from behind the plate. Just drew Stokes off the bag just a little bit too far, and by that point, the runner from first, Grant, was already pretty much into the bag in time.
It's now 2-2 to Bradley Carl. The last pitch was called strike. And Walters looking for another K. He's already gotten 3, trying to make it 4. Here's the 2-2. And this one's hit high in the air, and it's going to stay in the infield. Hutch Russell tracking it down. The second baseman makes the catch on the edge of the outfield, and there's one away.
Well, that ball looked like it was going to carry a lot more than it did. It kind of just died in the air, and Hutch Russell did a nice job at reading that play, was able to get underneath it and secure the catch. I thought that thing was going to go out to right field just the way it came off the bat, but I think that the wind kind of kept it a little bit further into the ballpark than I thought it would.
The Studs now go to their 3-hole batter, number 28, Jeremiah Crane. Thought about taking a swing at the first pitch, but it was nowhere close to crossing the plate. That is ball 1. Crane, a former Division I player for the Studs, played his junior year for the Gauchos at UC Santa Barbara. Walters looks back at second base and now deals the 1-0. And that one just missed the zone. That one looked like he caught the inside corner, but Conan Strobel will call it ball 2. The Studs have been in this situation already with runners in scoring position. They had the bases loaded in the top of the second, and it was left loaded with 2 outs following. And another foul ball goes into the stands. And I think that landed in a suite.
It's possible. It kind of sounded like it might have, just based on the way that the railing kind of rattled up here.
It's a little bit dark up here. The lights are now focused on the field, and there is no sun out. 2-1, 1 out. Runner at second base, no score in the top of the third, and now taking off for second is Dante Grant, and the throw goes down and then goes past Rainer Bean, and that's going to score the first run of the game for the Cheney Studs. Dante Grant slides feet first and gets them on the board first.
Well, he'll score officially on an error from the catcher, Hazelhorst. His reaction time, his pop time wasn't bad. He just overthrew the third baseman, Bean, and Grant did a nice job on the base paths, notching 2 stolen bases there before scoring on that error.
The 2-2 goes off to the side. It's a slider thrown there from Brian Walters, and that's his first full count of the inning and second of the game. In search of the second out, the bases are empty, and the payoff pitch goes off to the side for another ball, and that's another walk. Now coming up is the right-hander, number 7, Gage Thompson, walking around the umpire and then going into the right-handed box.
Well, I must say that the Studs fans, while not many are here, they are certainly mighty. They're a loud bunch. Let's just put it that way, and they're really letting their team hear it. And it almost feels like, that they're playing at home in a way. Just based on the way that they're really making some noise for their team.
They were able to get the bid from winning the Pacific International League Championship. Swing and a miss on the 0-1 is strike 2 there to Gage Thompson. And that's another thing that can lure attention to you for the NBC World Series, is that even if they don't win that league championship, they're all the way up in Seattle, Washington, and this shows, hey, we're willing to make the trip down, and we bring a large fan base along with us. The 0-2 from Walters, and he goes to the outside again. There is the first ball. Gage Thompson, the freshman transferring to Pierce Community College, struck out looking on a 2-2 count in the second inning. And now on the 1-2, he hits a ground ball that will stay fair down the third base line, and it goes all the way to the corner. It is Shipley running after it, and the runner will be held up at third. It is a double for Gage Thompson, and that's now 2 runners in scoring position, with the Studs holding on to a 1-0 lead. Trying to continue this rally. Kalen Halstead up to bat, number 24 for the Studs. Had a walk in his first appearance. Now Halstead holding his bat out, brings it up, and Walters deals. That one catches the zone. Starting the count off 0-1. Halstead, a freshman at the JUCO level for the Studs. A very notable player. He started his career at the Division I level for the Oregon State Beavers, where he was a redshirt before he transferred to Pierce and was a top 50 catcher nationally by perfect game. He hits a hard ground ball into the glove of Rainer Bean. He will throw it home, and Dylan Hazelhorst is there for the tag, and it is in time for out number 2. A good heads-up play there by the third baseman to keep it a 1-0 game.
That was certainly not a routine play there from Bean. Not typically do you throw home from third base, but on that particular play, Bean realized that he had enough time to throw home on that play, and there was no reason for him not to there to secure that out and avoid letting up another run.
Now the Larks have to leave runners stranded again to try to limit the damage. It is number 16, Jackson Copeland, up to bat. He starts with a ball. The first baseman singled on his first pitch that he saw in this game. And the Studs have gotten this 1-0 lead off of only 2 hits. The next pitch is on its way, and it gets that outside corner. Walters now works to a 1-1 count against the NBC All-American Jackson Copeland. Copeland was named the player of the game against the Oklahoma Lookouts. 2 doubles, 3 RBIs, and a run for him. And he swings and misses on the 1-1. He's down to his last strike. Dylan Hazelhorst will call time. Give some signals to his infielders. And now squats back behind home plate. The runners have leads. It's Gage Thompson at third and Kalen Halstead at first. The pitch, a swing and a miss, a foul tip that goes into Dylan Hazelhorst's glove, and that ends the top of the third. But the Studs were able to strike first. Dante Grant walked, stole 2 bases, and scores on an error. And the Studs lead at 1-0. And the Larks will have their 7, 8, 9 batters up next here on the Larks Network. Andrew Knorr returns to the mound for the bottom of the third inning. The Studs have jumped out to a 1-0 lead against the Larks. They scored Dante Grant off of a walk. He stole 2 bases and was brought home on an error. And now Tanner Norman bats 7th in the order, leading off the bottom of the third inning. He'll be followed by Tabor Stokes and Dylan Hazelhorse. Knorr deals the first pitch, and it is a swing and a miss to start the inning. Tanner Norman fresh off of a 2-for-4 performance against the Alaska Gold Panthers. Both of his hits were singles, and now the 0-1 is on its way. Moves his arms a little bit, and it's high and inside for ball 1. Andrew Knorr has done a good job so far. This is just the 7th batter that he's facing. He's gotten a lot of help from his fielders as well, with the 3 balls in the first inning going in play, and then the bottom of the second inning ended on a 4-6-3 double play. Another strike there to Tanner Norman makes it now 1-2. Norman has 4 hits so far in the NBC World Series, and now he'll be dealt another ball. Watching it go by, it's 2-2. North's first appearance was against the Austin Gold Sox. It was not a start, and now a slow ground ball goes over to Gage Thompson, the shortstop. He launches it down to first base. It takes a bounce and then goes into the glove of Copeland for out number 1. So the Studs able to get that out. They will now face number 6, Tabor Stokes, for the Larks. Dylan Hazelhorse is on deck, and then after that, the Larks will go back to the top of their order with number 12, Matthew Shipley. And for Stokes tonight, this is his 100th career game as a Lark. And he's had a great one. 117 hits across the previous 99 games with 94 runs and 70 RBIs. He starts with an 0-1 count with a 1 away. Infield playing a little bit deep for the Studs. And now the 0-1 popped up. It's going to go behind home plate. Halstead runs after it, but it lands in the stands. And then rolls down a couple rows. Stokes now has to battle back 0-2. He reached base twice yesterday with a walk and an error. And now the next pitch, a swing and a miss, high and outside. That is the first K of the game for the right-hander out of Shoreline Community College, Andrew Knorr.
Well, Tabor Stokes was sitting on that fastball. He got it, but just couldn't quite locate it where he thought it was going. It was up and out of the zone, and that's a really tough pitch to try to pull back into play if you're swinging at it out of the zone.
Completing the first rotation through the order is number 29, Dylan Hazelhorse, the catcher, in his second game of the World Series. He starts with a 1-0 count. 2 outs, and the Larks trailing Seattle 1-0. Nor kicks and deals, putting a fastball high and outside, making it now 2-0. Nor only had 2 strikeouts in his first game against the Austin Gold Sox and only gave up 3 hits and 1 run. Now he goes inside on the next pitch. 3-0 is the count. Hazelhorst would be the second base runner of the game for the Larks if he gets on. The first one was Cooper Holtorf off of a walk, but he would get out on a double play. And there is ball 4 to Dylan Hazelhorst. He tosses his batting gear over to the third base dugout, and he's over at first. So now the Larks are back to the top of their order with number 12, Matthew Shipley, in his first game with the team. Shipley is a sophomore from UC Colorado Springs that played in 25 games with the Game Day Angels. Waves his black bat by his ear. And the first pitch is a fastball. Just missed the zone. That one looked like it might have caught the inside corner. But Shipley will work ahead 1-0.
Well, we've seen it a couple times in this tournament where the Larks are able to get a guy on base with 2 away. We'll see if they can't get a 2-out rally going here.
Nor gives a nod, now deals. Goes high and outside that time for ball 2. Shipley had a good end to this season with the Game Day Angels. He hit in 17 of his last 19 games. And ended the season on a 5-game run streak as well. Now he watches the 2-0 go by, and the curveball gets in there to tie the count up. Dylan Hazelhorst has a lead over at first base. Covering the bag is Copeland. A throw goes back, and Hazelhorst is back in time. It's not a spot that Dylan Hazelhorst is used to. He's more familiar with having a courtesy runner come in, but in the NBC rules, you're not allowed to have one. So he'll be running on the base path for the remainder of this tournament. Now the 2-1 is a hard ground ball to Crane. He throws to the opposite side of the infield and gets out number 3. The Larks send 4 batters up to the plate in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Dylan Hazelhorst gets on a walk and is left stranded, and the Studs still hold on to that 1-0 lead going into the top of the 4th inning.
We welcome you back to Wichita, Kansas, here at X Stadium, home of Tyler Field on the campus of Wichita State University. The Larks trailing it by a run here on the top of the 4th. The Cheney Studs got out to a lead in the top of the 3rd inning after a pass ball that was an error from the catcher Hazelhorst on the throw over to third base on a stealing play by Adante Grant over at third. He was able to go home on that play, and now the Cheney Studs have a 1-run lead over the Larks here in the top of the 4th. Brian Walters remains on the hill for another inning of work. The first pitch to his first batter, Tristan Ringrose, dots the outer half for a strike. Walters, I mentioned, pitched in that first contest of the tournament for the Larks against the San Diego Stars. He pitched 2 innings of relief for the Larks starting pitcher that night, Trent Baker. The 0-1 misses outside for a ball. The count moves to 1-1. Ringrose, the second baseman, reached on a base on balls his first time up. The 1-1 pitch. This one a big swing and a miss at a pitch that was way below the zone. Ringrose will have to battle back now as he faces a 1-2 count. Walters holds his tan glove just below his chin. Now comes set out of the stretch. The 1-2. A foul ball is batted away into the net. The count moves to 1 ball and 2 strikes. Walters looking home. He comes set. Now deals the 1-2. This one's a line drive out to center field. Running it down is Flowers. He makes the catch on the right eye of the Woo Shock logo out in center field. There's one away here in the top of the 4th, and that brings up the 8-hole hitter, Tanner McVeigh, the designated hitter. He flew out last time on a pop fly into foul territory that was caught by the first baseman, Norman. The first pitch to him dots the inner half of the plate for a strike. Tanner Norman made that hustle play to really lead to the eventual end of the top of the second inning. Now another pop fly down the first base line. Norman running it down. Instead, Hazelhorse makes a diving attempt, and it just gets away from him.
Never easy to make a play like that in the full catcher's gear. He tried diving out, and it's just there's not much else you can say. It's a tough play to make.
Thought Tanner Norman might have had a chance to make a play on that ball, and he would have been able to record a second out against McVeigh in foul territory, but instead, history will not repeat itself. An 0-2 count. The pitch from Walters. Got him over the outer half. It's a backwards K for Brian Walters. Walters records his 5th strikeout of the evening.
You got it in the zone perfectly, but you also got to give credit to Dylan Hazelhorse. He did a good job of framing it inside to get that out.
Now 2 away for the Larks here in the top of the 4th inning. The first pitch to Sparrow is drilled out to left field. You can forget about it. Sparrow belted that ball over the top of the pavilion above the Wichita State Wall of Honor near that 330 mark out in left field. And you knew from the moment that thing made contact with the bat that there was no chance that it was going to stay in the ballpark. As now the studs are being sprayed with water guns by, I can only imagine, the Circle of Love, the Wichita fan base of the Cheney Studs.
You see some creative celebrations in any type of college baseball, and there's another one that's actually not the first time I've seen it, I will say. I went to a K-State KU baseball game and saw that.
It's now the top of the order for the Cheney Studs. Dante Grant stands in the left-handed batter's box and faces the right-handed Walters. He starts the count 2-0. The pitch from Walters. This one's popped up into fair territory out in shallow left. Tracking it down is Shipley. He makes the catch for the final out of the inning. A solo homer, no doubter from Ryan Sparrow, ups the ante here in the top of the 4th inning. The Larks trail it by 2-0 against the Cheney Studs in the 92nd NBC World Series on the Larks Network. We welcome you back to Wichita, Kansas. Andrew Knorr for the Cheney Studs stays out on the hill for another inning of work. The Larks trailing the Studs 2-0 after that solo shot just a half inning ago. Leading things off for the Larks is the two-hole hitter, Max Flowers. He stands in the left-handed batter's box and waits for the first pitch from the righty, Knorr. It goes into the turf, and it's ball one. 1-0 count to start the at-bat for Max Flowers. Flowers grounded out down the first base line his first time up. The 1-0. This one way inside on the center fielder, Flowers. The count moves to 2 balls and no strikes. The Studs wearing powder blue uniforms this evening with white bottoms. The 2-0 pitch is hit out into right center field, tracking it down the right fielder, Sparrow. His hat flies off and he makes the catch for the first out of the inning. That brings up the 3-hole hitter, Rainer Bean, the third baseman. He'll also step into the left-handed batter's box to face the right-handed Andrew Knorr. Accompanying the Cheney Studs uniforms tonight are white bottoms with black socks and black, actually navy blue, like dark navy blue, hats with the Cheney Studs C on the cap. The 0-1 pitch to Bean. This one misses down and in for ball one. The Cheney Studs also feature what is a Belgian draft horse on their left chest pocket, where the left chest pocket would be. And the Cheney Studs red is now Rainer Bean grounds one down the first base line to the first baseman Copeland. He steps on first base, and there's 2 away. That Belgian draft horse is actually significant to logging. It was used primarily in the logging industry, which is directly connected to the Cheney Studs. It was founded by the logger Ben Cheney, who was a big promoter for athletics in the area. The 4-hole hitter Owen Coyle steps up to the plate. The first pitch to him is hit out into the Cheney Studs bullpen just down the first base line. And the Cheney Studs, the stud, is actually namesake to what essentially came from Ben Cheney's logging practice, as the 0-1 misses outside for a ball, 1-1 count to Owen Coyle. The 2x4, the 8-foot by 2x4, which is commonly used as framing, as a stud when you're framing a house. And that is where that namesake comes from. Now a ground ball up to the pitcher. It's an underhand throw to first base. 3 up, 3 down goes the Larks in the bottom of the 4th inning. We go to the top of the 5th, and we come back here in Wichita, Kansas. Back of the 92nd NBC World Series, Eli Blankenship joined alongside me, Hank Corsair. The Larks trail it by 2-0 after going 3 up, 3 down in the bottom of the fourth. The first pitch to the two-hole hitter, Bradley Carl, misses down and in for ball one. The 1-0 pitch from Walters is lined over to the second baseman, Russell, who couldn't keep it in his glove, but he throws it over to first base after the ball just rolled out of his mitt to make the play, and I don't think that was the most conventional way of getting it done, but he got the out.
Not used to seeing Hutch Russell drop those types of plays, and I think because of that, that's actually what led to that out. You saw him drop the ball, and Bradley Carl already thought he was out. He was slowing down, and once he realized it was dropped, that's when he picked his speed back up, but it was too late.
That brings up the three-hole hitter, Jeremiah Crane, who lines out over to the shortstop, Tabor Stokes, and we might have a quick inning here, folks. Back-to-back, essentially, lineouts, even though Hutch Russell didn't make the play on that lineout play. I'm still going to consider it a lineout in my books because of the nature of how that happened. Is now Gage Thompson, the four-hole hitter, the shortstop for the Cheney Studs, steps up to the plate. The first pitch to him misses high. The count moves to 1-0. The Cheney Studs actually played the team that the Larks played last night, the Alaska Gold Panthers. They played them earlier in their season at a tournament in British Columbia at the Grand Forks International Baseball Tournament. And the Cheney Studs actually won that tournament in late June in the championship against the Gold Panthers by a score of 12-2. As there's a swing and a miss, and the count moves to 1-2 to Gage Thompson. Now, obviously, that can be deceiving because teams add a lot of players before they enter the NBC World Series, so that result could be different as now the 1-2's popped up high into the infield. Underneath it is the first baseman, Norman. He makes the catch for the final out of the inning. The Studs go 3 up, 3 down in the top of the fifth inning. We go to the bottom of the fifth when we come back at the 92nd NBC World Series. We welcome you back to Wichita, Kansas. The Larks looking to find their way onto the scoreboard here in this what has been pretty quick contest so far against the Cheney Studs in the first round of bracket play here at the NBC World Series. It's the bottom of the fifth inning. Leading things off is the right fielder and right-handed batter, Cooper Holtorf. It'll be a righty-righty matchup against the man on the mound, Andrew Knorr. Knorr so far pitching a no-hitter. Going into the bottom of the fifth. First pitch to Holtorf, misses upstairs for a ball. Now, you heard me mention the name Ben Cheney. Ben Cheney actually was a pretty important figure in baseball in the Pacific Northwest. As the 1-0 misses outside. Ben Cheney owned 11% stake in the San Francisco Giants in his time on Earth, as now there's a pop-up that will go in play right in front of the Cheney Studs dugout. The first baseman, Copeland, was unable to make the catch, but it was really close. That thing just hit the turf really pretty much right in front of the fence in front of that Cheney Studs dugout.
He put his left hand on the dugout fence to create some spacing, and I think it landed right in between where he took his hand off. So came down right as he started to back away.
2 balls and 1 strike. This one's lined over to the third baseman, Crane. The throw across the diamond is in time, and Holtorf goes down on the ground out. That brings up the second baseman in the 6-hole spot, Hutch Russell. It'll be a righty-lefty matchup with the second baseman, Russell, up to the plate. Russell hit into a double play his first time up in the bottom of the second inning. It was a 4-6-3 double play that ended the bottom of the second inning. The first pitch to Russell right over the plate for a strike. So owning that 11% stake in the San Francisco Giants also allowed him, as there's a pop-up out into shallow left center field that won't drop down into the grass as Carl's there to make the catch. Tanner Norman now steps up to the plate. The first baseman grounded out to shortstop his first time up. The first pitch to him misses outside for a ball. 1 ball and no strikes, the count to the first baseman. The first pitch to Norman, or the second pitch to Norman rather, coming in right at knee high over the inner half of the plate for the 1-1 to Norman. Missing low over the outer half of the plate. Two balls and 1 strike. Norman takes a check swing. It won't matter as that one comes right across the outer half of the plate. Norman taps home plate. Waves his bat behind his helmet. The 2-2 is fouled away into the net. The count will stay right there. We apologize, folks, for any technical difficulties we've been experiencing here this evening. The Wi-Fi is kind of spotty up here in the press box. It's fully out of our control, unfortunately. I think we have a more reliable Wi-Fi network now that we're connected to. The 2-2 misses up and in on the first baseman, Norman. Now the count moves to 3 balls and 2 strikes.
I know that people always like when broadcasters bring up weird but true stats and facts. Here's one for tonight's broadcast. The guest Wi-Fi works better than the main Wi-Fi.
A big swing and a miss at that strike. And a drop third strike will result in an out over at first. And it will be another 3-up, 3-down inning for the Larks in the bottom of the 5th. The Larks still trail it by 2-0 going into the top of the 6th inning. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to the 92nd NBC World Series on the Larks Network. All right, well, we should have audio now, folks, here in the the top of the sixth inning, rather. I'm Eli Blankenship, joined alongside me, Hank Corsair. We apologize. We're having some Wi-Fi difficulties. Our scoreboard is no longer going to be displayed, as that is also having some connection issues. But our broadcast is working, and that's what matters. So we're going to have the ultimate test as broadcasters to try to say the score as frequently as possible. So I'm going to start by saying it now. The Studs lead it over the Larks 2-0 with their leadoff batter, the 5-hole spot, Kylan Halstead, the catcher. He starts the count 2-0 against the pitcher Brian Walters of the Larks. Walters comes set at the bell. Now the 2-0. This one misses down and outside for ball 3. So I mentioned I was just talking about Ben Cheney before we lost connection. Ben Cheney was a pretty important figure in the Pacific Northwest for baseball and really all sports, as the 3-0 hits the outer half for a strike. Three balls and one strike now the count to Halstead. And Cheney actually was able to build Cheney Stadium. He funded that stadium in Cheney, Washington, as there's a line drive down the third base line for Halstead. He'll round first base. He's digging for second. He'll get in standing up. It's a leadoff double for the Studs.
And that's not the first time we've seen that same play. Tight roping down the foul line, and the first baseman or third baseman, whatever side it's on, has to make a diving play, and it goes all the way to the corners.
So Halstead will lead things off with a leadoff double. Now the Cheney Studs, the lead 2-0, have a runner in scoring position now. That brings up the 6-hole hitter, Jackson Copeland, the first baseman. He lays a bunt down the third base line, and the pitcher Walters will wisely tell his third baseman Bean to leave that one, to let it roll foul. Copeland starts the count 0-1. So Ben Cheney was able to create Cheney Stadium out in Cheney, Washington, which is now home to the Tacoma Rainiers, who is the San Francisco Giants affiliate. The Giants was the team in which Cheney owned 11% stake in when he was living. So an interesting kind of connection there. He was able to get that minor league team out in Washington.
And here with the Cheney Studs, they also get kind of that minor league feeling at times, because some of their guys are former college players, and they have one guy in their lineup that we haven't seen tonight. I'll get to that in a second. If you want me to continue, or
the 0-1 to Copeland came across the outer half. He was showing bunt once again. The count will move to 0-2. Go ahead, Hank.
It's actually their leadoff batter, number 21, Dante Grant, who's a former player in the Padres organization, where he was there for 3 seasons before getting cut back in March.
Walters comes set, takes a look over to third. The 0-2 pitch is swung on and missed. A pitch that sailed right across the outer half of the plate. It's 74 miles an hour. Will be strike 3, and the 6th strikeout of the game for Brian Walters, dealt to Jackson Copeland. That brings up the 7-hole hitter, Tristan Ringrose, the second baseman. Now, Cheney Stadium not only has hosted baseball, they've also hosted a couple soccer teams that played at Cheney Stadium. Now, it's interesting because the Cheney Studs don't actually play at Cheney Stadium, as the first pitch to Ringrose comes across the middle of the plate for a strike. The Cheney Studs actually play at a university close to that stadium, Cheney Stadium. And Cheney Stadium was home to the OL Reign and the Tacoma Defiance, both soccer teams. The OL Reign, a part of the NWSL, the National Women's Soccer League, as there's a pass ball into the turf, which will advance the runner from second. Halstead is now standing at third, just 90 feet away from scoring. And so Ben Cheney's vision of having a baseball stadium has really become so much more now out in the Pacific Northwest, as Seattle's a very common place for baseball and also for soccer as well, a popular place in the United States for soccer, which is just interesting that stadium, which was intended for baseball, has at one point been shifted to a soccer stadium. As now there's a pop-up down the first base line out into foul territory. It'll land foul in the Cheney bullpen. 2 balls and 1 strike to count to Tristan Ringrose. The Studs have had a lot of notable players, actually 1 ball and 2 strikes. The outfield scoreboard was just fixed. So a runner on third and a 1-2 count to Ringrose, the second baseman. The pitch from Walters. This one's lined out into left field. It'll be down for a base hit. It's an RBI single for Tristan Ringrose. Halstead will reach home and score the third run of the game for the Cheney Studs. They lead it 3-0.
We're kind of seeing the same thing that we saw in last night's game. They're relying on their pitching, and the bats are slowly chipping away at this game. The starter, Andrew North's thrown a no-hitter so far, and now the Larks might be making their first pitching change right here.
This is likely going to be the first pitching change of the evening for the Larks as I see some movement in the Larks bullpen. Keith Harper makes a trip to the mound, and he'll have a chat with his starter, Brian Walters.
And the pitcher that's warming up for the Larks is Hunter Cogill, so that would be another guy coming in that's already played in the NBC World Series, making his second appearance now.
Keith Harper looks over to the bullpen down the third base side. I think maybe debating whether or not he's going to go ahead and throw a new guy. He's going to point out to the bullpen down the third base line, and we will have a new pitcher into the contest. We'll step aside for just a moment. When we come back, it's a new arm on the hill for the Larks. Back at X Stadium, a new arm on the hill. Hunter Cogill enters the contest for the Larks. He's an arm we've seen once already in this tournament. He pitched in the contest against the second game of pool play, Tessa's Army, for the Larks. He went 2 2/3 innings, allowed 1 hit on 2 runs, 2 earned runs, gave up a home run and a strikeout in that contest, not allowing a single walk in that appearance. Up to the plate now for the Cheney Studs. Tanner McVeigh, the designated hitter, steps up to the dish. Cheney leads it 3-0 here against the Larks in the top of the 6th inning. The first pitch dealt from Cogill misses down and outside for ball 1. Now, the Studs have been around for quite some time. They're a 3-time NBC World Series champion. They've made quite a few appearances in the NBC World Series as the 1-0 is jammed up on McVeigh. It's hit foul into the Studs bullpen, down the first base line into the Studs dugout. They've also had some pretty notable players that have come through their system, most notably Ron Say, the third baseman for the Dodgers, as there's a 1-1 pitch that misses just inside on McVeigh. And Ron Say came through the program in 66 and 67. Later was a World Series MVP in 1981 when the Dodgers won the World Series. He was batting .350 in that World Series, so he was a pretty talented hitter himself.
That's always going to be the case for the World Series. Those teams that get those invites early, the Larks included. I know that they were kind of one of the last teams to get announced, but the Larks always expect to get invited. But the Studs were an early addition. You mentioned those players. You look at other teams like the Alaska Gold Panthers and Santa Barbara Foresters. Just those historic teams bring a lot to the table through their history.
3-1's popped up into shallow right. Holtorf makes the easy catch out in right field, and there's 2 away. So the first batter that Cogill faces is an out. And that brings up the 9-hole hitter, Ryan Sparrow, the right fielder. Sparrow hit that solo home run in the top of the 4th inning. That was a moonshot out to left field. There's a no-doubter off the bat. The first pitch to Sparrow's lined up the middle for a base hit. They'll send the man from third. Ringrose rounds the corner over at third base. He'll slide in safely at home. I don't know if he touched home plate. It looked like he did. And according to the umpire, he did. But that was really close. His hand just must have barely skimmed the corner of the plate. And that's run number 4 now for the Cheney Studs.
And that one wasn't really as deep as you might have thought it was, but the thing that made the third base coach for the Studs send the runner home was that when Ringrose got to third base, the Max Flowers hadn't fielded the ball yet.
That brings up the top of the order for the Studs. Dante Grant now stands at the plate in the left-handed batter's box against the right-handed Cogill. The first pitch from Cogill misses outside. The count now 2-0 to Dante Grant, the center fielder.
This was the player I mentioned a little bit ago, was a former minor leaguer in the San Diego Padres system, specifically in their complex league.
The runner from first goes. Hazelhorse from the knees, throws over to second, and it's way behind the runner. Not Dante Grant, Ryan Sparrow, who had a very easy stolen base over at second. It's now the third stolen base in this contest for the Cheney Studs. A 2-1 pitch to Grant. This one's fouled out of play over the top of the bullpen for the Larks down the first base side. 2 balls and 2 strikes now the count to Dante Grant. Grant recorded 2 stolen bases his first time up, and he was the first run to score in the top of the 3rd inning. He scored on that pass ball over at third base. The 2-2. This one misses outside. 3 balls and 2 strikes now the count to the leadoff batter and center fielder Dante Grant. Cogill comes set. Looks back to second base. Now the payoff pitch. This one's popped up into the air in foul territory. Running it down is Hazelhorse. He slides down on one knee and can't make the catch, so Dante Grant will face at least one more pitch.
Well, one thing's for certain about Dylan Hazelhorse is he's committed when those foul balls go up in the air. That's the second time we've seen him slide in that full gear.
The count now remains at 3 balls and 2 strikes. Cogill searching for the final out of the top of the 3rd inning. A runner on second in scoring position. Cheney Studs lead at 4-0 here in the top of the 6th. Cogill deals the payoff pitch. This one's chopped over to the shortstop, Stokes. He throws it across the diamond, and the reach over at first base by Norman is not in time. It's a infield single that advances the runner from second over to third, and there's runners on the corners now for the Studs.
And that was the right call. Tanner Norman was sliding off the bag at the very end, and when he made the catch, his foot was off.
So Dante Grant notches his first hit of the day. He's moves to 1-4 on the day after reaching base on a walk in the top of the 3rd. That now brings up the 2-hole hitter Bradley Carl, the left fielder. He awaits the first pitch in the left-handed batter's box, and the first pitch is fouled into the turf for strike 1. Now I mentioned Ron Say earlier, the Dodgers player that played for the Studs. He's actually not in the Hall of Fame in Cooperstown, despite being an MVP in the World Series. As there's another hit out into left center field. A diving attempt from Flowers to stop the ball was successful. That thing was just sailing over the top of the head of Tabor Stokes. And that's an RBI double for the 2-hole hitter Bradley Carl. The fact that a World Series MVP, and he was a co-MVP, I might add, but the fact that a World Series MVP and a guy that hit .350 in the World Series isn't in Cooperstown really just speaks to the fact that it is extremely high threshold to get into the MLB Hall of Fame. As now we'll have a meeting on the mound for the Larks pitcher Hunter Cogill with 2 runners in scoring position now with 2 away. The Cheney Studs have increased their lead to 5. They lead at 5-0 here in the top of the 6th. As Hunter Cogill's day will come to an end, we'll have a new pitcher on the hill for the Larks when we come back. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to the 92nd NBC World Series at Larks Park. Not Larks Park. That is X Stadium. Don't go anywhere. We welcome you back to X Stadium, home of Tyler Field here in Wichita, Kansas. The new arm on the hill, Jackson Ramos. And to Hank's point, they're bringing out the kitchen sink here, trying to keep this game within reach for this Larks squad.
I think this is actually the earliest we've seen Jackson Ramos throw this entire season, apart from his first game, which I believe was in Boulder back in early June, because that was just a 7-inning game, but we rarely see him get subbed in this early in the contest.
The third baseman, Jeremiah Crane, faces one of the aces of the Larks bullpen, Jackson Ramos. It's a righty-righty matchup to the third baseman. The first pitch misses high and inside for a ball. 1 ball and no strikes here with 2 away in the top of the 6th. Studs lead at 5-0. The pitch from Ramos. This one dots the outer half for a strike. The count moves to 1-1. 2 runners in scoring position here for the Studs. On second and third base stands Dante Grant and Bradley Carl. 1 ball and 1 strike. Ramos adjusting that front left foot. Now dealing the 1-1. This one comes across the outer half for a strike. I think Ramos thought that was strike 3 as he kind of jumped off the mound like he was getting ready to run back to the dugout. Instead, he's got to throw 1 more to retire Crane. Ramos looking home, lightly tapping his chest with his glove. Now the 1-2. Missing down and outside. 2 balls and 2 strikes the count to the third baseman, Crane. Still 2 runners in scoring position. 2 away here in the top of the 6th. A crucial out needed now for the Larks. The 2-2 goes into the turf. It's stopped by Hazelhorst behind home plate. He was able to somewhat keep it in front of him. So the runner from third, which is Bradley Carl, stayed put. He remains just 90 feet away from home to try and extend the lead to 6. Ramos looks home. Now comes set. The payoff pitch. Into the turf. The bases are juiced. The Studs have the bases loaded, and Jackson Ramos is still searching for the final out of this inning to get the Larks out of the jam. Larks trailing it by 5 here in the top of the 6th inning. 5-0 the score. The bases loaded, and Gage Thompson, the shortstop, up to the plate. The first pitch to Thompson. Hits him on the elbow. It'll be a hit by pitch. That'll score the runner from third, and the bases stay loaded with now a 6-run lead in favor of the Studs.
You can kind of hear it from up here. It just barely got a hold of his arm. And now, based on trends, this is not a good spot. This is Kalen Halstead up to bat now. It's his second time in this inning up to bat. When the Larks, in any game this has happened in, where 10 batters, at least 10 batters come up to the plate, whether it be the Larks or their opponent, that team has gone on to win.
We now have to move to the next scoring column. I'm now in the column for the 7th inning, as the Studs have officially batted the order. That brings up the man who led off the inning, Kylan Halstead, the catcher. He scored the first run of the inning after reaching on a double, the 1-0 to him. This one is lined down the third base line. Rainer Bean will field it and step on the third base bag for out number 3. The Studs bat the side in the top of the 6th inning. They tack on 4 more runs to the Larks. They lead it 6-0 going into the bottom of the 6th. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to the 92nd NBC World Series on the Larks Network.
Larks. Larks.
We welcome you back to Wichita, Kansas. The Hayes Larks looking to strike back now. They gave up 4 runs in the top of the 6th. They trail it 6-0 here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Leading things off for the Larks, the 8-hole hitter, Tabor Stokes, the shortstop. He stands in the right-handed batter's box against the right-handed pitcher, Andrew Norrie. Takes the first pitch over the outer half for a strike. Norrie so far has pitched 5 straight innings of no-hit, no-run baseball. He has had a very good game so far. The 0-1 goes into the turf. Moves the count to 1-1. Stokes only his second time up to the plate here in this contest, the 1-1. This one into the turf once again. Moves the count to 2 balls and 1 strike, as that one was not able to be fielded by the catcher Halstead. It gets behind home plate. They'll have to change out the balls. The 2-1. This one popped up high into the air, out into deep left field. Underneath it's Carl. He makes the catch about 10 feet away from the warning track for out number 1. That brings up the bottom of the order for the Larks. The 9-hole hitter Dylan Hazelhorse steps up to the plate. Another righty-righty matchup as Andrew Norr's no-hit, no-run bid remains on the table. The first pitch to Hazelhorse. Left upstairs by the catcher. 1-0 the count.
That's actually a new batter.
You're right, that is a new batter. Thank you for being observant, Hank. That was...
Well, I'll give the credit to the scoreboard out in left field. I was like, that's not Dylan Hazelhorse's face.
Brand Wilson has now entered the game for the Larks, so he steps in to take the place of Dylan Hazelhorse.
And yeah, this is the first game where we're seeing the players' photos on the scoreboard. This is what they start doing only for bracket play here at the NBC World Series.
It's a 2-2 count rather to the new catcher, Brand Wilson, who comes in as a substitute here in the bottom of the 6th. The righty Wilson awaits the 2-2. This one misses down and outside for ball 3. A 3-2 count now to the catcher, Wilson. Wilson, the Binger, Oklahoma native. The payoff pitch. This one's hit hard. A line drive out to left field, and a diving catch is made by the left fielder, Carl. He went down to one knee and just barely held on to that baseball to secure out number 2 of the inning and keep the no-hitter alive for Andrew Knorr.
He's been incredible already in this inning alone. You saw the long run against Tabor Stokes and then a sliding play there against Brand Wilson.
So the bases remain empty here in the bottom of the 6th inning. And the Studs still hold that 6-0 lead here in the bottom of the 6th. Matthew Shipley, the left fielder, steps up to the plate now for the Larks. It's a righty-lefty matchup. The left-handed hitter takes the first pitch, a curveball, down the middle of the zone for a strike. The 0-1, missing just outside. Count moves to 1 ball and 1 strike. The scoreboard's actually showing Sean Keenan, so that's actually Sean Keenan up to the plate. Yet another substitution. Sean Keenan slices one into fair territory, down out into the left field corner, and Carl secures out number 3. He secured all 3 outs there in that inning in the bottom of the 6th. Sean Keenan in his first at-bat here in the bottom of the 6th inning flies out to left field for the 3rd and final out of the bottom of the 6th inning. The Larks trail it by 6-0 going into the top of the 7th. Don't go anywhere. More action to come here from the NBC World Series from Wichita, Kansas.
Welcome back to Wichita, Kansas for the top of the 7th inning. The Studs lead the Larks 6-0 in the final game of first round. Jackson Ramos returns to the mound to face the 6-7-8 batters for the Studs. And the first ball is to Jackson Copeland. He lines it into the elevated middle bleachers here at Eck Stadium. Ramos is the third pitcher for the Larks in this game. They started with Brian Walters for 5 1/3 innings and then Hunter Cogill after that. And Ramos has been in since then. He deals a ball in the 0-1 count, making it 1-1. Copeland with a 1-for-3 performance tonight. He had a single in the second inning and has struck out twice since then. He was the second batter of the previous inning, where the Studs scored 4 runs off of 5 hits and sent 10 batters up to the plate. A pop-up, sails behind into the stands, and it's now 1-2. Tristan Ringrose is on deck, and Tanner McVeigh is in the hole. The Larks have made some changes now. We saw some new guys into the batting order in the previous inning. Cooper Holtorf is now over in left field, and Sean Keenan is in right field. And now this ball is sent into left field. Holtorf's got to run back for it, and this one is going to drop down, and him and Flowers will collide with each other. And this could be a potential triple for Copeland. He rounds second, heads to third, slides in, hands first, and he's tagged out by Rainer Bean. The Larks able to get things back together. Flowers was the one that threw it back in, and Rainer Bean applies the tag to Jackson Copeland.
Excellent throw there from Flowers. Didn't give up on the play. Props to him for not giving up on that one. That was a really difficult ball to field out there, out in left center field. What can you really do? Holtorf and Flowers both running full speed over there out into that left field territory, and it was just a really difficult play between the both of them. It was a long run for both of them, and it was really well struck, almost hitting the warning track. I thought it was going to bounce for a ground rule double, but instead Flowers putting in that extra effort, making that throw over to third and securing the out.
So the inning will start with the bases empty and 1 out. Tristan Ringrose goes up to the plate, and he hits a fly ball to left field. Keenan running after it near the foul line, and the catch is made. Keenan makes his first defensive play after subbing in for Matthew Shipley in the last inning. And there's now 2 away here in the top of the 7th inning. The Studs leading the Larks 6-0. It is number 23, Tanner McVeigh, now up. The DH for the Studs. Readjusting his batting gloves. And nope, correction, that is a new batter for the Studs. It is number 15, Riley Angelo, the Curtis High School graduate from University Place, Washington.
Well, they subbed out the DH, Tanner McVeigh. McVeigh started the day 0 for 3, so it makes you wonder if maybe that was just a tactical decision to try and get a new bat up there.
0-1, now 0-2, a swing and a miss to Riley Angelo from Jackson Ramos. Riley Angelo, a Division II commit, playing in his 3rd game of the 2026 NBC World Series. He's gotten 2 hits and 2 runs. Ramos comes set, deals, and he gets another fastball, sending it 91 miles per hour across home plate, and Ryan Angelo's unable to make contact with it on a swing and a miss. As we now go to the bottom of the 7th inning, the Larks still trail 6-0, trying to get a comeback and set up a date with Lone Star Baseball Club. We go now to the bottom of the 7th inning. The Studs lead the Larks 6-0, and they are still led out there by number 10, Andrew Knorr. He has pitched a no-hitter through the first 6 innings, and he will face the Larks' 2-3-4 batters. It's number 5, Max Flowers, then number 3, Rainer Bean, and number 20, Owen Coyle. First ball of the inning will start the count 1-0. Eli has stepped off to the side for just a second. He's actually going to go check to see when the last time a no-hitter was recorded in the NBC World Series. And just as I say that, Max Flowers hits a ground ball right past the second baseman Ringrose, and he gets the Larks' first hit of the contest. And he is back now into the booth. Eli, I guess you didn't need to worry about that after all.
No, I think I gave us a little bit of good mojo there by asking about a no-hitter. I said no-hitter about 4 or 5 times, which I think may have a reverse commentator curse. Hopefully, I don't know if that's how that works, but I wasn't able to find the answer to that question. But there was a Cheney stud stat keeper in there that said, "Thanks a lot, guy."
Now a fly ball into right field for Rainer Bean. Going back is Sparrow near the warning track, and the ball falls into his glove. A good hit with good contact from Rainer Bean. Just about, I'd say, 10 feet away from going over the wall.
It was very, very close. It was pretty much right on the warning track there out in right field. I'm going to add to my little story on my little adventure just a second ago. Well, when I went in there and I said I was fairly loud so that the whole press box could hear me, so if somebody knew the answer, I said, does anybody know when the last time there was a no-hitter hit that somebody pitched a no-hitter at the NBC World Series? And the first thing somebody did is they turned around and they go, shh, to me, so I didn't jinx it. And literally right after that, the timing was impeccable. There was somebody that got a hit for the Larks. So I don't know. I'm not saying they're correlated, but maybe they're correlated. I don't know.
You think anybody got mad at you? Because that would have probably been history.
It possibly. Possibly.
A chopper here from Owen Coyle and an underhand toss from Andrew Knorr is out number 2. And Max Flowers is sent over to second base.
The bookkeeper for the Cheney Studs was a little bit upset with me, I think, whenever I said it. Whenever I was walking away, she goes, "Thanks a lot, guy." And I was like, oh, sorry about that. But, to the Larks' benefit, I suppose, they've got their first hit of the contest.
Cooper Holtorf now makes his third plate appearance with a runner over at second base. 2 outs. Studs up 6-0. Larks searching for their first run. Max Flowers gets halfway down the base path, goes back to second base, and Holtorf begins 1-0. Hutch Russell is up next, and then Tanner Norman, and now Holtorf takes a big swing. Falls behind 1-1. Holtorf has only gotten on through a walk tonight. Grounded out to the third base side in his last appearance. And now he hits a fly ball into right field. The first baseman Copeland running after it, and it lands in the loge seats to the right of the first base, or to the left technically of the first base dugout. And Holtorf now has to battle back with 2 strikes. This has tied the longest inning of the contest for the Larks. They had 4 batters in the 3rd inning. Holtorf is the 4th batter in the 7th, and he hits a ball right back up the middle, and the Larks will have a 5th batter. Max Flowers is sent home by Ben Tinius, and the throw goes home, and Flowers glides across home plate and gets the Larks on the scoreboard. It is 6-1. Cooper Holtorf recording his 34th hit of the season right there and bringing up Hutch Russell.
So for those wondering, the last time there was a no-hitter thrown at the NBC World Series was August 6th, 2020. So it's been 6 full years since there was a no-hitter thrown. And take a wild guess as to what team that no-hitter came from.
I'm going to go with is it the Santa Barbara Foresters?
Ding, ding, ding. That's the name right there.
What player was it?
Sean, actually, well, okay, it was actually a bullpen no-hitter, so that is deceiving. I misread that. I got a little bit too eager on that one. It was
still, though, you rarely see guys go for full games in this type of tournament, let alone in the NBC, whichever league it is and whichever point of the season they're at.
Right. Sean Johnson, Peyton Palette, and Elijah Tress were the 3 pitchers that came in for the Foresters. I'll have to do a little bit more digging to figure out the last time there was a single pitcher that pitched a no-hitter at the NBC World Series.
We got to catch back up. Hutch Russell was facing a 2-1 count. He hits it into center field, and another run is going to score. Cooper Holtorf running all the way from second base gives the Larks their second run of the contest and puts them within 4.
Sorry, folks. I didn't mean to detract from the action. The Larks are not going to go down without a fight here from what it appears.
This would be one of the biggest comebacks of the season if the Larks are able to complete it. They've still got a couple innings to work with, and they are the home team tonight. And now there's going to be a meeting with Andrew Knorr, with their head coach, coming out. There is one pitcher in the bullpen right now trying to get a look at who it is. It looks like it's number 12, which for the Studs, that is another right-hander. It is George Gatsinaris out of Villa Park, California. They've used him in a save situation before, and he's already pitched in the World Series against the Junction City Brigade. So we'll see when they decide to sub Andrew Knorr out. The Larks have recorded 3 hits in this inning and scored 2 runs. Hutch Russell is on at first. Tanner Norman up to bat. Thought about taking a swing, but the ball was too high. It's now 1-0. Covering first is Copeland. The middle infielder's playing near the grass, and now Hutch Russell takes off for second base, and the ball bounces out of Halstead's glove as he came out of his stance. It's now 2-0, and the Larks have another runner in scoring position. Larks fans making some noise now. They are fighting their way back into this contest. The ball goes high for Tanner Norman, and the count is 3-0. The catcher wants the ball low. That's where it goes. Tanner Norman thought it was going to be ball 4, but instead, Conan Strobel will call it strike 1. The glove gets centered again. Norman hits a high fly ball into center field. Grant getting under it. Standing on the wheat hair of the Wooshock logo. He goes to his right to make the catch. And there's out number 3. The Larks are finally on the scoreboard. They score 2 runs off of 3 hits and leave just 1 runner stranded in the bottom of the 7th inning. The score is 6-2 with the 9-1-2 batters up next for the Seattle Cheney Studs. It's time for the top of the 8th inning. The Studs lead 6-2 over the Larks. They just got on the scoreboard thanks to 3 hits And now they have their third call to the bullpen of the game. The fourth pitcher coming in now is number 2, Trent Baker, for his second game in Wichita this season. He starts with a 1-0 to number 14, Ryan Sparrow, the 9th batter in the Studs order. And now a check swing, but it got in the zone. It's now 1-1. Baker was the starter in game number 1 against the San Diego Stars for the first 5 innings. He got the win, making his career record with the Larks 10-0. And now he comes in for a relief appearance. 2 balls and 1 strike. Baker delivers. And now Sparrow ducks out of the way a little bit. There is ball 3. Baker's been primarily used more as a starter this season for the Larks, but he's had some great outings as a relief pitcher. In his 3 relief appearances, he's only given up 3 hits and 2 runs and recorded 8 strikeouts, and he's going to get some help from his fielders right here. This one goes into right field, and it's caught by Sean Keenan. There's one away. That returns the Studs to the top of their order for the 5th time tonight with number 21, Dante Grant. The former outfielder from the San Diego Padres organization. He was signed in July of 2023 as an undrafted free agent. He hits a foul ball down the first base line, beginning his count with a strike. He spent his entire career in the minor leagues with the ACL Padres, which stands for Arizona Complex League. That's where a lot of the young rookies that are picked in the later rounds or picked up as an undrafted free agent will go. And he had a great career, but despite being cut this last March, a .241 average with 59 hits and 50 runs through those 3 seasons. He shows bunt on the 1-1, and it's now 1-2.
After doing some digging, I found the last solo no-hitter. It was pitched by Jack Kralik for the Grand Rapids Sullivans out of Michigan. And this was a full-length game. It wasn't a mercy rule 7-inning game. I think, yes, it's a no-hitter if it's 7 innings, but I think it's really, truly a no-hitter if it's 9 innings, in my opinion. And that was in 1958. It was a 9-inning game, and the final score was 4-0. So it's been a while since there's been a solo no-hitter with a full 9 innings.
Back to our action, the count 1-2. Dante Grant watches another ball go by. 1 out and a 6-2 lead for the Studs. They have led since the 3rd inning. They scored a run each in the 3rd and 4th. In the 6th innings where they really broke things out, scoring 4 runs off of 5 hits. Another ball is dealt to Grant. Larks fans thought it was going to be called a strike. But now Baker has to battle against a full count.
One more thing I'll add about Kralik. He later went to play into the major leagues for the Cleveland Indians.
And Dante Grant is going to head to first for the 3rd time in this contest. 2nd time he's been walked, going along with a hit that he had in the 6th inning. Coming up now is number 5, Bradley Carl. The left fielder taps the bat on home plate. Waves the bat around. Baker giving a nod to the new catcher, Bran Wilson. And this one's hit high in the air, sailing out of play into the bullpen. And it'll actually land behind the Larks bullpen. It starts the count off with a strike. Baker leans forward on the mound. Tanner Norman covering first where Dante Grant is at. He's got a big lead, and now throw back to first. The tag was almost applied in time, but Grant is safe. The Larks have only gotten 1 pickoff play so far in the World Series, and it was one against the San Diego Stars that was perfectly timed over at second base. I mentioned already on a previous broadcast that when we talked to Frank Leo about it, he said that they practiced that specific play all week in practice leading up to the World Series, and they worked it to perfection.
Paid off, certainly.
Here's the 0-1, and it's left outside by Carl.
That was Trent Baker, wasn't it, that was able to execute that pickoff?
I
thought that was
don't
in game 1
think
against
it was.
the Stars.
I think it was in the middle part of the game, and I want to say that it was Trent Baker. I'm trying to remember what inning it came in, but Trent Baker pitched a full 5 innings, and it was the 5th inning against the leadoff batter. For some reason, I was thinking it was the relief pitcher that came in and got that pickoff play.
Let's see if I can't figure it out here.
1 ball and 2 strikes with 1 out. to the second batter, Bradley Carl. The pitch, a line drive right past Tanner Norman. The runner will advance to second base, and now they're going to send Dante Grant over to third. It's a long throw for Sean Keenan, so Grant gets there in plenty of time. Runners are at the corners for the Studs with one out, and Jeremiah Crane makes his 5th plate appearance.
Based on what I'm looking at here, I think it may have been in the 3rd inning. Would have been the top of the 3rd. I think Hunter Call, who had an RBI single, may have been thrown out at second unless that was a stolen base attempt.
What I had, it was the 5th inning against Liam Herrera.
Okay.
Baker again leaning forward, now coming set, positioning his left foot. Here's the pitch. And a line drive into right field. Keenan running up on it. He makes the catch on the run, now throws it back in. And the runner from third tags up, and Dante Grant scores the 7th run of the game for the Seattle Cheney Studs. They lead the Larks by 5.
It's a challenging spot now for the Larks. They're trailing it again by 5. They took a couple steps forward with those 2 runs they were able to generate in the bottom of the 7th inning. Now here's the spot where they have to really just dig in. Don't let those runs discourage you, and know that you're fully capable to potentially pull this game back together.
Another throw back to first base. Bradley Carl didn't need to slide. Trent Baker facing off against number 7, Gage Thompson. The pitch is going to be called strike 1. Time gets called, and a ball rolls into play on the first base side, coming from the right field dugout of the Seattle Cheney Studs, which does not have a fence surrounding it, unlike the one in left field. A little bit odd to see that, with one being closed off and the other one just wide open.
It is a bit strange. Typically, if you see that, it's typically both of those bullpens don't have a fence, and here at X Stadium, it's only one of them, which I think is a bit odd. I don't know what the reasoning behind that is, but that's just the way that it is here. It's one of the quirks of this ballpark.
0-2 from Baker. He catches the outside corner against Gage Thompson and gets out number 3. The Cheney Studs added another run. They scored Dante Grant. He was walked and brought home on a sacrifice fly from Jeremiah Crane to extend the lead by 5. Bottom of the 8th is up next. The Larks will have Tabor Stokes, Brand Wilson, and Sean Keenan up to the plate to try and mount the comeback. Tabor Stokes leads off the bottom of the 8th inning. The Larks trail 7-2 against the Seattle Cheney Studs in the final game of the first round. And Tabor Stokes on the 0-1 hits this one over to Ben Tinius, almost getting a barehanded grab from the third base coach. but it just rolls past him, and someone from the bullpen will have to go and retrieve that.
He was almost able to snag that thing off the turf. It was a valiant effort there from Tenius over at third base.
Andrew Norris still pitching for the Studs. This will be an 8th inning of work for him, and now Tabor Stokes rips this one into left field, but it's going to sail out of play.
That foul ball has a launch angle of a no-doubter home run. If he can speed up his swing slow down his swing just a little bit, that thing would have been a no-doubter out to left.
And now a ball is dealt to Stokes from Andrew Norris. It's now 1-2. We mentioned earlier this is Tabor Stokes' 100th career game with the Larks across the 3 seasons that he's been here. In search of the hit tonight, he will swing and a miss, and this one's dropped by the catcher. He had to go back behind him to go get it, but he throws it down to first in time for the out.
Well, despite that being a drop third strike, sometimes guys will just kind of jog down the first base line. Tabor Stokes went all out down that first base line. Really props to him. Speaks a lot about his character. He's a guy that never gives up. Even when they're down a bunch of runs, he's still going to give you his 110%.
Number 32, Brand Wilson, now up. He was a pinch hitter in the 6th inning for the starting catcher, Dylan Hazelhorst. Hazelhorst only made 1 appearance despite being in for the first 5 innings. Andrew Norris just pitched an incredible game. He's ahead with a strike. Now he deals, and Wilson hits this one into center field. Grant has to take a few steps back. He gets under it, and the catch is made. There's now 2 away here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Andrew Norris just playing an incredible game tonight. 4 innings in his he played 4 innings in the first pool game against the Austin Gold Sox, and now comes in and now has a chance to complete 8 full innings as a starter.
It's very rare you see a starter go this many innings, especially in modern baseball.
And Sean Keenan a swing and a miss, and his bat goes out of his hands and into the net in front of the Studs fans. It's kind of been a rare sight this season. If this was at Larks Park, Ken Windholtz would have played the Tarzan scream as part of tradition with the batters letting go of their bat when they swing. So the count is 0-1 with 2 outs. Andrew Norris deals. This one's chopped right back to him, and he fields it. He will just walk over to first, give an underhand toss to Copeland, and there is 3 outs. It's another 3-up, 3-down inning for the Studs, and they are 6 outs away from getting a matchup with Lone Star Baseball Club. We'll be back for the final inning in just a moment here on the Larks Network.
Hey, Larks! Hey, Larks!
We are in the final inning here of the first round matchup between the Hayes Larks and the Seattle Cheney Studs. Trent Baker back on the mound for the 9th inning. Kylan Halstead up to bat. Kylan Halstead. He started with a strike and now has dealt a ball from Baker. Halstead has gotten on base 3 times in this contest. He's accounted for 1 of the 7 runs scored by Seattle. And now he hits a ground ball over to Tabor Stokes. He tried to make a diving play to his right. But Halstead gets on through his second hit, going along with his double that he had in the 6th inning. That brings us now to number 16, Jackson Copeland. The sophomore out of Pierce Community College. And the player of the game from Seattle's only win in pool play, which was against the Oklahoma Lookouts. Baker taking his time, now delivers a bunt from Copeland. Goes right back into the net. The count is 0-1 to Copeland. The scoreboard reads that it's 1-2. Brandon Wilson puts his glove low and outside. And a ground ball over to Hutch Russell, and he's unable to get there in time. He was playing very close to the second base bag, so that was a long run for him. And Copeland gets over to first base and sends Halstead over to second. And now the next batter, Tristan Ringrose, will have a meeting with his coach over at third base. Runners at first and second base, and a 7-2 lead for the Studs, which they've held on to since the 3rd inning. They had a run each in the 3rd and the 4th, and the 6th inning is where they were able to get to a very comfortable spot. 4 runs off of 5 hits and only 2 runners left stranded in that inning. And now they have 2 on with no outs. Baker's first pitch to Tristan Ringrose. Misses up high for ball 1. Tonight is Trent Baker's 33rd game as a pitcher in his 4-year Larks career. He is the first player to complete a full season since Wyatt Divis from 2019 to 2022. 1 ball and 1 strike to Tristan Ringrose. Now the pitch, and he sends another one back into the net, making it 1-2. Short leads for both runners. We've seen a few steals from the Studs in tonight's contest. They came into this game only 2 for 4 in their 3 pool games on the base path. And now Baker misses up high. Brandon Wilson tried to frame it down low. And the count is evened up. Baker looks back at second base, and now the pitch. And another foul ball landing in one of the sky boxes on the very edge of the press box here at X Stadium. Fan sitting there goes and retrieves it, and then holds up the ball with his right hand and gets a cheer from the whole crowd. This is pitch number 6 from Baker to Ringrose. No outs, and here it comes. That catches the outside corner, and there's a K for Trent Baker. That's his 2nd of the game and 6th of the World Series. And that'll bring up the pinch hitter for Tanner McVeigh, Ryan Angelo. He was one of the final batters that the previous pitcher, Jackson Ramos, faced. And he grounds this one over to Tanner Norman. He tags first, now looks over at second base, and this one gets away from Tabor Stokes. It's the left fielder, Cooper Holtorf, that goes and retrieves it. And scoring from third on the air is Kylan Halstead.
I think Tabor Stokes just got ahead of himself there. He put himself in the perfect position. Tanner Norman made a great throw over to him, and Stokes just wasn't quite looking at the ball as it came into his mid. He was a little bit more worried about the guy that was sliding into second base, and you can't blame him. He was trying to think ahead on the play and just got away from him. And thankfully, the left fielder, Holtorf, was able to track it down.
The lead is now 8-2 for the PIL champions. And Ryan Sparrow up to bat now. One of 3 Studs with multiple runs in tonight's game. He sails this one out of play. And starts with an 0-1 count. Jackson Copeland is the only runner on now. He's over at second base. Baker watches him, deals the pitch, puts it high and inside, making it 1-1. Sparrow is 2 for 4 in this game. He scored both times he's gotten on base. One of those was a home run in the 4th inning. They sent to the Kosick Pavilion over in left field. Baker's ahead 1-2 against the right fielder. And the pitch, a swing and a miss, and Baker adds another K for the final inning. And now the Larks back to work with the bats for the final time in this game. They need 6 runs to keep their season alive. And we will have the final inning when we come back. The Larks are down to their last chance to keep their season alive. They trail the Seattle Cheney Studs 8-2 in the bottom of the 9th inning. Max Flowers is up. Rainer Bean is up next, and then Owen Coyle. The first pitch is on its way, and it's from number 10, Andrew Knorr. 3 outs away from pitching a complete game, something that I have not seen in my 3 years of covering the Larks. The 0-1. And Flowers takes a swing. It was not caught by the catcher, but it doesn't matter. It's 0-2. The previous inning just ended with 2 strikeouts coming from Trent Baker. And then when he went over to the third base dugout, he received a hug from Frank Leo because this was likely Trent Baker's final game as a Lark, capping off an incredible 4-year career, which we'll talk about in just a second, as Flowers hits a line drive over the head of the shortstop, and it goes over to the center fielder, Grant. And Flowers gets on with Rainer Bean up next. So Trent Baker officially plays in 117 games as a batter, 33 as a pitcher, giving him overall 150 appearances across those 4 years. And he set multiple records as well. 2nd all-time in runs in a season this is in 2023. 6th in triples also in 2023. And 9th in stolen bases last season. Just an incredible career for Trent Baker, and I don't know what's next for him, but he's definitely going to be a player that the Larks will miss. Oh, 0-1 to Rainer Bean, and he hits this one right back to the first baseman and a throw down to second base, and the tag was not applied in time. Max Flowers able to beat it. And he is the lone runner on at second base with 1 out. Owen Coyle now up now. Coyle going to the left-handed batter's box for his 4th plate appearance. Every ball that he's put in play so far in this game has either gone to the first baseman or to the pitcher. So we'll see what he does right here. The pitch, and Coyle fouls this one back into the stands, hitting against the green seats. And it's 0-1. The runner takes off for third base. That is Max Flowers. And Owen Coyle does not swing. Flowers is now 90 feet away from home plate. Coyle taking some practice swings, waving his bat around. The 1-1. Nor puts it low for ball 2.
Here's an interesting factoid for you folks. Drew Vedelson is the last person who pitched a full, complete 9-inning game. He played for the Santa Barbara Foresters, and his opponent, no other than the Hayes Larks in 2019.
Was that in bracket play, or does it say that?
It does not denote whether it was in bracket play or not, but it was the Santa Barbara Foresters, and it was on August 5th, 2019. The Santa Barbara won 3-1.
The ball gets away from the catcher. It's a drop third strike. Owen Coyle will be out at first, and the throw to home is not in time. Max Flowers slides in, and he gets his second run of the game. Coyle is out on a drop third strike that went to the backstop, and he had a half-hearted swing. The home plate umpire said that he went around. And Flowers gets the Larks within 5, but they're now down to their last out. And Cooper Holtorf up to bat. First pitch is going to be called a strike. Holtorf trying to repeat from his last appearance, that RBI single, and he chops this one foul, rolling towards the third base dugout. And that is strike 2. The Seattle dugout on the first base side making a lot of noise. They are 1 strike away from getting the win, and Andrew Knorr is 1 strike away from pitching a complete game. And he deals a ball. Knorr is ready, so is Holtorf. The 1-2. High and outside. Holtorf fighting back in the count. Knorr goes to his curveball. He goes to the outside, and that one caught the corner. And that will end the game as Seattle gets the lead in the 3rd inning and holds on to it from that point on. They defeat the Larks by a final score of 8-3, out hitting them 12-4, and relying on their pitcher, number 10, Andrew Knorr, pitching a complete game. And now they will have the Studs will have a matchup tomorrow with Lone Star Baseball Club in the quarterfinals, and the Larks season comes to an end with a record of 28-9. We'll have a short postgame show when we come back. We'll take a look at final numbers as well as talking about the game, and then we'll have our final sign-off of the season. You are listening to Hayes Larks Baseball on the Larks Network. The final score is 8-3 here at X Stadium. The final game of the first round. The Seattle Cheney Studs defeat the Larks and end their season at 28-9. Welcome to the postgame show, everybody. My name is Hank Corsair, joined alongside by Eli Blankenship. And we kind of saw the same thing from yesterday, and where the Studs, they jumped out to an early lead, relied on their pitching, and the rest was history.
Yeah, and they – I mean, this is 2 games now the Larks have faced a lights-out pitching performance, and there's not a whole lot you can really say except for the fact that they were just outpitched in both of these contests, and it was just incredible pitching performances from both the Gold Panthers last night and now tonight from the Studs. It's just what can you do? When you're playing really good defense wins championships, and the Studs really did a nice job on the hill. It really the main reason why they prevailed tonight.
And even though the Larks had a tough loss, they still had some notable performances as well. Max Flowers, 2 hits, 2 runs. Cooper Holtorf with an RBI and a run of his own. And Brian Walters, he held his own for his first start with the team, and especially after he had a previous relief appearance here in Wichita. 5 1/3 innings, only five hits given up, and 6 strikeouts. That's definitely nothing to frown about.
Oh, 100%. I think Walters really held his own out on the hill. I think he looked really good from start to finish. And, you know, he's playing against a talented Cheney Studs team. There's nothing he can really hang his head about from this performance. We recorded 6 Ks in the contest, and like I said, just looked really good. Second performance in the NBC World Series, and he really rose to the occasion in both of his appearances.
And now the Cheney Studs will face off against Lone Star Baseball Club. They won their pool with a record of 2-1, and the Cheney Studs, they have a fresh bullpen, and I think that they can compete and also make a deep run, because you look at some of the teams that they might play, the Alaska Gold Panthers, the Hutchinson Monarchs, the possibilities could be wide open for them as they try to make a deep run.
100%. I think, of course, they've got to get past Lone Star first before they look too far ahead. But the Monarchs are not an easy team to beat. They're going to be a tough challenge, along with the Gold Panthers. We saw it, both of those teams. I think the benefit for the Studs is they're pretty familiar with the Gold Panthers. They saw them once already this season in that tournament that I mentioned previously, and I think that, you know, if you're the Studs, I think only throwing one arm tonight is a very big boost of confidence for them going forward for the rest of the tournament. I think that's going to really totally open up their team for the rest of the tournament, and I think that for them, you're absolutely right. I think that they really, truly could make a deep run in this World Series.
And I always end the season like this, but I feel like it's something that needs to be said. Like, you look at all the accomplishments from this season, all the notable performances, the big wins, et cetera, everything that the Larks accomplished this season, these guys come together as strangers, leave as brothers every single season. They trust this coaching staff with Frank Leo, Keith Harper, Nate Guffey, Brady Kreitzer, and Ben Tinius, and they build those relationships. They have a great season, and now they walk away with great memories as they go their separate ways. Some guys will return to JUCO. Some guys make their collegiate debut. Other guys will head to 4-year, and some even Division I.
Yeah, it's really neat to see the bonds that these players are able to establish, and you said it. They all arrive as strangers and they leave as brothers, and I think that's such a neat part about summer baseball, especially with the Larks. I think that they've really been able to develop this culture of camaraderie, you know, from the start of the season all the way to the end of it, and you see it within these players. They have a really good impression of each other. They have a really good relationship, and it's really interesting because a lot of these guys some of them will face each other throughout their collegiate, you know, careers, and it's really neat to see those guys, you know, then later on get to face each other and you know, see their friends and see their brothers that they met with the Larks, and sometimes it even leads to players returning. So you never know, we might see some of these guys next year.
Well, that's going to do it for our post-game show. We'll have a quick break and then have our final sign-off when we come back. Don't go anywhere. So with this being the last game for the Larks, we just wanted to come on here one more time and give our final sign-off. I'll let Eli start, and just to say whatever you want to the fans.
Yeah, well, first and foremost, I'd like to thank all of our fans and additionally the Larks organization, Frank, Leo, Keith Harper, the entire coaching staff, along with Ken Winholz and our producer, Brandon Purdy. We really appreciate it from the bottom of our heart for the opportunities that you've been able to provide for us, not only being able to come to Wichita for the NBC World Series, but also being able to be the faces of this team, game in and game out. So it's an honor to be able to represent Hayes. An honor to be able to represent the Larks. My future with the Larks is very unclear. Who knows what next summer will bring? But I can confidently say if this is my last game calling as a Larks broadcaster, I have had a absolute blast, and it's been a total honor to broadcast for the Larks. And I will confidently say that I will always be a supporter of the Larks to the day I die. So I really greatly appreciate it from the bottom of my heart.
And I'll start off mine by saying it was great working with you for a second year.
Yeah, absolutely. I've had a blast with you, Hank, for sure.
Well, whatever I'm about to say is completely unprepared. I did not put this together, just putting that out there real fast. But I got the call back in March or sometime like that to do this again, and I very quickly said yes. It's very great to work with this organization, these coaches, these players, and also you and the fans that give us the opportunity to do this. And it was an incredible season. Big wins, greatest start in program history, which was 16-0, I believe, off the top of my head. And the 80th season of Larks baseball, being with an incredible community in Hayes, Kansas. It's just incredible to work with this team, and I'm very grateful to have this a part of my broadcasting career. And same thing for me. I don't know what's next in my broadcasting career, if I'll come back to Hayes next season or what's next. But if this is the last time, thank you to everybody. And from all of us at the Larks Network, thank you for giving us the opportunity to do this. And that's going to wrap things up. The Larks end their season with a record of 28-9. And again, thank you all for tuning in this season, and have a great rest of your night.